I'm Bob and I like to make stuff. Today we're going to turn an Atari game into a wallet. I started with a game cartridge from an Atari 2600. I used a really sharp knife to remove the label over where I could see the screw. I removed that screw and the two sides came apart really easily. I pulled out all the guts and then used some flush cutters to cut off all the extra plastic. I needed to get all this stuff out of the way and it came out very easily. Inside these games there's a panel that's spring-loaded. It moves up and down when you push the game into the machine. I just cut off all the pieces of this panel that I didn't really need. Basically, I just needed a top to cover the top of the wallet. I used a knife for a while and then realized that a cutoff wheel and a Dremel would be much faster, so I finished up using that. Once it was cleaned out, I just used some super glue to glue this to the panel that had the artwork on it. On the other panel, I used a really small drill bit to drill several holes through the back of it. I did this up and down both sides of the panel. Then I got some really thin elastic cord. I melted the end of it so it wouldn't fray and then fed it through the bottom hole, then went across, back and forth all the way up to the top. When I got it to the last hole, I tied a knot and then tightened the string all the way down. Once it was good and tight, I tied a knot at the bottom. I slid in a card just to make sure that these were tight enough to hold it in place, and they were. If you know anything about me, you know that I love gadgets and home automation. So I'm really excited about today's sponsor, Sage by Hughes. Sage is a system of connected devices, but the thing is, you can customize that system to target security or home automation or both. Sage offers a starter kit, a home automation kit, and a security kit. And you can start with those and then customize it to fit whatever your needs are in your home. They've got a bunch of different devices that you can choose from. Indoor, outdoor cameras, smart light bulbs, sensors, outlets, all sorts of stuff. So you have all these devices and they connect to a hub. And then the hub connects to your TV. So using the remote that comes with it, you can watch live video or recorded video that was triggered when a motion sensor went off. You can turn the lights on and off, you can check the sensors, you can unlock the door, you can change the thermostat. You can do all of this from your TV or from your smartphone. The system is super easy to set up. There's no long-term contracts. They've got multiple levels of encryption, so all your stuff is safe. It's a very cool system. In fact, I kind of wish I had ordered more parts so I could make my system a little bit bigger. So click the link down in the description. Go check out Sage. Thanks, Sage, for sponsoring this video. On the panel with the artwork, I measured down about a ½ inch from the top and drilled a hole on both sides. And through this hole, I fed in some 3/8 inch elastic band. I fed one end in and then tied a knot. Then I pulled the elastic tight around the outside of the surface. It's not fully stretched, it's just flush against the outside. I tied a knot on the other end and then held the two pieces of the game together, folded over the strap to make sure that it was tight enough. Then I trimmed off the excess on the inside. The next thing was to make a hinge, and I'm using Gorilla Tape for this. They're not a sponsor, it's just a really good product that lasts for a really long time. I laid a piece across the bottom where the two pieces join and then used a sharp knife to trim off everything except for where the label used to go. I opened it up and then wiped a little bit of rubbing alcohol on the exposed adhesive. That helps it not be quite so sticky. I cut a strip to block the adhesive in the middle and then folded it over like a hinge. This actually worked way better than I thought it was going to, and it'll probably last for a long time. To hold my cash on the other side, I went into a 3D modeling program and made a simple money clip. I played with this design quite a bit, just made a flat design and then extruded it into the shape I wanted. This is what I ended up with when I was all done. I printed it out with kind of a thick infill so that it had a nice spring to it. When it was all done, I tested it with some cash and then figured out the best placement for it so I could easily grab the bills out. After I figured out the placement, I just used some super glue to hold it in place. Now if you wear your wallet in your back pocket, this is probably not a great idea, but for me, wearing mine in my front pocket, it works great. To make this, you don't really need very many tools other than the 3D printer. And if you don't have a 3D printer, you could just buy a money clip and glue it in, or come up with a different way to hold your cash. Basically, you just have to have a knife and a drill, and that's pretty much all you need to be able to put this together. The idea for this project came from a guy named Matt Neff, and I recently did an interview with him for his podcast, and I'll put a link to that down in the description when it's available. But at the end of that conversation, he said that he would love to have a wallet made from an Atari game. I had never heard of that before, so I immediately started thinking of how to do it. This is what I came up with, but I started somewhere else. I don't normally make prototypes for things before I make a video about them, but this week on my live stream on Twitch, I made a prototype. I tested some things out, I tried some different things like hinges, I tested out the elastic and how it would work, but the awesome part about doing a prototype on a live stream was the comments in the chat. Everybody in the chat was super helpful. They gave me lots of ideas to make it look better, make it work better, and I ended up with a much better product than I would have otherwise. So thanks so much to everybody who was on that stream and gave me ideas and feedback. It was super helpful. You guys are awesome. If you ever want to check out the live streams that I do from my shop, I do them at least once a week. You can check those out on twitch.tv/ILikeToMakeStuff. Another thing I want to bring up, because I couldn't really show it in the video, is that I made several different versions of the money clip before I settled on what I showed you. I tested a few different things. I wanted to make sure that they were long enough to hold the cash, that there was enough spring to keep the cash pushed down, and that there was enough space in there to actually put a few dollars. But one of the awesome things about 3D printing is that you can make a small modification, print it out, test it out, and then go back and make more changes. I literally prototyped this in the morning, made this in the afternoon, and then modeled and iterated and printed until the night. So I did the whole thing in one day. 3D printing is a super awesome tool for making things quickly and customizable. That's about it for this one, guys. I want to thank everybody who was on that live stream for all of the ideas and all the feedback. Thanks to Matt for the idea for this project. And if you want to check out the live stream, there's a link right down there on the Twitch icon. I've got lots of other videos for you to check out. All my social links are down there. That's it for this one, guys. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.